Oh, and we are live. So,
Ah,
ladies and
let's
gentlemen,
go
welcome
live.
to
What's
another
up?
Flexi Studio Lock-In podcast. This is Flexi Stu here with one of my main inspirations since 2001, Mr. Kenny Lavis, Mr. Clean. And
Boop, boop,
Kenny,
boop.
you've invited two of the hottest European lockers to come and chat with us. Please introduce the fellas.
So this is Nack'O Flexx and Brian One, and they're doing big things in Czech Republic. And so how
Fellas,
I
welcome.
yeah.
What's up,
Thank you
guys?
so much for having
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you so much for having us.
And so what I wanted to speak about was the who, what, where, and why. So I seen these guys on Instagram, and I saw the passion in them, and just basically they had great energy. And so I wanted them. I reached out to Nack'O, and I told him, hey man, you got to come to the States. And it's something that I had assumed that they'd be interested or having that on their bucket list. I kind of assumed that in the way that your generation, Stewie, started coming out here, training with all the OGs, meeting us directly. Forget what people said or coming to meet people directly. And I knew I could just tell by the passion and fun they were having with locking that they were serious about it. And so the unfortunate thing is I wanted them to come out because Nack'O was like, well, can I bring the friend? And I said, the more the merrier. But in November is when all the jams were out. And I wanted them to come out so they could cipher with all the world's best dancers in the world. But unfortunately, they were tied up with pre-obligations. So they were like, man, we'll just come next year. And in a short amount of time, Brian and Nack'O got back to me. They're like, well, can we come out in December? Because I'm part of building this brand called Spoon Lab. And we were sponsoring a couple of events, but you have Flavor of the Year and you have Freestyle Session. And I was really tired, but I was like, what the hell, man? Let's bring you guys out. And so I was certain that they would be interested. And I said, okay, we'll come out. And they're like, then I found out they're coming out for 2 weeks. Like, these guys were really about it, man. I was like, okay.
We were serious.
So they were serious, and they're not playing around, and they came out here for business, and they wanted to meet. Like, when I started talking to them, they started reaching out on Instagram to, like, Alpha Omega, Scooby-Doo, Tony Basil, Slim the Robot. I introduced them to D-Rock, and then I had talked to Flowmaster, because Flowmaster, really good teacher at the original style. And then I reached out to my teacher, Richie Rich, for them to train. And they reached out, they really got on the wheel here and the horse and really started pre-planning their trip. And so Brian reached out and said, well, we're not old enough to rent a car. Can you hook us up? And I was like, I can hook you up. So we made it happen with my business account. And they had a whole trajectory of things they wanted to do, like, go visit Don Campbell Street and pay that tribute. They had to go to Venice Beach. So I really started I was tired, but I really started getting excited about. But yeah, share with your guys at the beginning why you guys were interested in coming to the States.
Yes, Nack'O, Brian, please tell me your first time in America. How was it?
Man, it was a great experience. We managed to meet like almost everybody we wanted. We didn't manage to meet Fluky and Anthony. But next time I hope. But it was great. We train a lot, we jam a lot. We've been on the street, on the Don Campbell Street. It was a crazy feeling because to stand there when he was on his street, the first street dance. It's crazy, man. It's crazy to come to the Los Angeles. We had fun.
You had a good time?
Yeah, we had an amazing time, man. We had so much fun. And it was beautiful in some way to dance in Los Angeles. For example, one of the memories that stuck with me when we went out to shoot a video at Don Campbell Street. We're shooting, right? We're in the city, and there's people watching us dance. And there's people, oh, you're doing the rerun dance, right? And people, I used to watch the dance in the TV, and they go,
Man.
and we have like a footage of people joining us doing some locking stuff. People from people from the
Everybody
city
knew
that were
about
not
it.
dancers, and everybody knew how to lock in some way and had some knowledge of it, and it was beautiful to see it alive.
Yeah, you could see it when it comes to dance. People like really care. Like
I, I totally
they
have been
brighten
there.
up.
I remember the first time coming to Los Angeles in 2001, originally from London, England. And a fella said to me immediately, do the rerun. And I was just amazed that people knew what we were doing and were involved and connected and positive. Such a different attitude than London. In London, it was all very much like this kind of thing. But
Yeah.
in, the LA vibe, it's all smiles and sunshine. But one thing that I really wanted to ask you, if you experienced a similar as in what I did, is to where I had a pre kind of conceived concept of what locking was in London. And then I went over to Europe the first time, Battle of the Year 2000, and realized that in Germany and Europe was quite different than in the UK. And then going to Los Angeles and then coming back and then going to France and realizing that there is a slight kind of miscommunication and a disconnect of what really is going on and has gone on in California. Did you guys have a similar sort of disillusion as I did, in that where you're like, what they're pushing and really judging on and about in European competitions, especially, is not exactly what is like, you got in California. I mean, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I came back a little bit scratching my head of like, there's a disconnect. Tell me, can you relate with any of that?
Well, if I can take it, Nack'O is okay.
Yeah.
Um, you see, when we go and we jam with Flowmaster, with Tony Basil, the and with Slim the Robot, like the most crucial information that we've met with, that Europe is not pushing that much. Locking was always about the women, man. Always about the club.
Yeah.
Always about impressing the women. Like the party mode about it. The character stuff, like how much importance it has in America. It's something that I feel like Europe doesn't look at it the same way. We like to teach it like
I
academical
think
way in some
th-
manner.
this is the thing. Brian just said it. Europe make it like business, but in the US you can see it's a joy. It's a happiness.
Yes.
It's not that serious actually. This is what I could see when I've been dancing with Flowmaster, with Tony. I could see just pure happiness and pure joy. No
Yeah.
technical thinking, no Olympionic thinking, no
Yeah.
battle thinking. Just dancing, just enjoying the moment, having fun, communicating with each other. This is what I like realized again in USA, because in here everybody trying to be the best, and they forgot a lot of the time about the real thing, about the spirit.
If I can coin in on that note, because even within California, the birthplace of street dancing, we have those culture wars as well. And so, people get really hung up, especially in California, about semantics. They're saying the same thing, but they're arguing against each other. And so, the original style of locking at its best is that. But my generation was the first generation to really be on MTV. You know what I mean? And so when I talk about the original style, that was the first generation to be on television. And so you look at the Lockers, they did like 88 shows, and Tony shared that it could have been 100. Shabadoo said the same thing, but that's what Greg shared with me. And these guys were like doing paid gigs. So when I was young, we didn't have access to them. And then when I started trying to, pretend to do the dance in the 70s, I didn't get educated in the 1980s. And I saw Cool Pockets on a Rod Stewart video, and he was popping. And I saw a television show called Xanadu, and I saw them locking. And I was like, wow, I want to do that. Forget what you've done and heard. That's what I want to do. And so when you look at the original style, I really wish because a lot of people say we're Campbell locking. They're really not. Most of the people out there are doing the second generation stuff, which is double time. So when you go online and you look at people, it doesn't breathe as well as the original style and doesn't have as much character. But I always felt both styles, because people was like, well, why do you say this? Why do you do that? I like both styles. I like the original style because it really teaches you how to be an individual. And there's a lot of character and personality and soul, and you get to groove and move with the style. If people say, well, why don't you say soul dancing? Well, I could say that. But if I'm doing a hip hop song, I want to do groove to hip hop music. If I want to groove to funk music, I want to do that style of dancing. Soul was more like in the 70s, and funk was invented in the 70s. So if I'm locking to a house track, because I can lock to anything, then I'm having a house groove. So they'll get upset that I'm not saying certain words, but my groove is according to what type of sonics of song I'm dancing to. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
so what
Yeah.
I liked about the Valley style, and I introduced Richie Rich, who was a lot of the people they saw on TV and social media. Because when I talked to Nack'O, he goes, yeah, I see you guys on YouTube and I see you on Instagram. And he went back to my group, the MDs, and groups like the LA City Rockers, who's danced with Jid, and they probably saw a lot of people that danced with Michael Jackson. Those were the images that people saw in Europe because they didn't have access to Soul Train and Bandstand. So in terms of the second generation, I had them train with Richie Rich, where it's a lot of double time, and it's what I like about the second generation and why they were so good for stage and television, because it's when you're dancing that was the era of groups. So when you're doing a duet or more people, they stay in frame by moving up and back and high and low. That way everybody stays in frame. When you go out to do a solo, I shared with them, then that's when you get to the Camelot style. You have this whole space, and I made sure that they use the space. And that's something they kind of already had, was the groove and personality and character, and they really utilized. But I thought it was important for them to be introduced to both
Yeah.
styles.
So,
And so when they
fellas, like,
got
tell
to
me, like, Nack'O and Brian, like, from being introduced to those different, like, generations of lock-in, like, was there like anything that surprised you out in LA with that compared to what you'd seen in Europe?
Mhm.
I wouldn't say like how to say. There was things that I wouldn't say that surprised me, but it just proved me that Europe make it so competitive, like in
Mhm.
almost every way, the events and everything. Like, but at the same time, like I felt when I came to LA, maybe like the thing about dance is just having fun, and we just took it
Yeah.
and like make it a business. This is what I feel like about dancing in Europe mostly, but it's not like I don't know how to say it
I think
right
you're saying it because,
right
like, the
words.
second generation was more of a business. When I saw people on
Yeah,
TV, I said, I want to be on TV. When I saw people on music television, I was like, okay, now I want to be on music television. So I think my generation really were going after commercials and television and industry work. And so when the world saw people dancing with Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson, they were like, that's not the original purpose of it, but that's
Mhm.
what people were trying to monetize the dance. And there's nothing wrong with that, but
yeah.
I really want them to really be around people that understood what they were doing with those generations. But I
But
think
this is the
everybody should go back and watch the lockers and meet them if they could. So it was very urgent for them to come out because we still have Fluky, we still have Tony Basil, and we still have Slim the Robot. And it was a great experience to see those guys engage with them. And they were all very gracious with the guys. But go ahead, Brian.
Mm, I'm thinking about what was important to me about meeting those two different kinds of looking or different styles was like when we trained with Richie Rich is this mindful distinction of what the dancers were actually doing, When we danced with Richie, the the locking was different, like the moment I took his class, I needed to put my brain on,
it was
I needed to really focus on the class to figure out the different way to move throughout the moves that we did, so it was huge experience, even like technically, to meet with those two different styles. Even like one day we're doing one thing and the second day we're meeting with the other one, and we're like comparing it straight away, meeting with the different viewpoints, opinions is was really valuable. You know, it makes you, the comparison makes you really understand like what we're looking at.
And I was kind of that help navigate and narrate this because I had the
Yeah,
same experience from the lockers and the second generation guys, which more monetized. But the second generation was about uh, being on TV and music television mainly and commercial work. And so as a unit, they had to learn to be very clean and tight. And Richie was like, "You're a little bit ahead, you're a little bit behind," you know, because the
yeah,
camera, like I've always said this, the camera doesn't lie. So every practice they did with Richie, I tried to film with Tony Basil, but she's like, you can't do that. I don't want to be on film. So with Richie, I had my ring light out there and I trained them, and they were able to go back and check things out. And so what I've always told people, what I love about the Valley style were the routines, the groups, and the combinations, and you have to
yeah,
be exact. And so whenever I talk about like Xanadu, you want to see if people are really on point, which is the style is great for television because Shabda used to call us clone dancers because we would dance exactly alike. We look the same, which is okay for routines, but not okay for your solo. When it comes to your solo, you have to be an individual. And they got that right away. They really understood it.
yeah,
And they found the second generation kind of challenging, but that was good for them too because you could these guys just wanted it. They were like a cage pet bull, like, okay, let me at it. And they attacked it. They just charged, you know, those routines and combinations.
yeah.
And that's what I love
And
about the second generation. Very clean, very tight, and challenging because there's so
and
much
this
information
is
coming at them.
this is something that I really appreciate about you, Clean, like because every time we meet up with you, you speak to us about this stuff, like you repeat this stuff many times for us to actually understand what's going on, right? Like the distinction between the routines and between the solos, between the double time, single time. We hear it so many times. Sometimes we go and we talk about it with Nak, we even laugh because at some point, like, we started to understand what it means,
Yeah.
if that makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you like guiding us through the experience so that we had someone that has it, that understands it mindfully and is speaking to us while we're taking those classes, so we know how
Navigate.
to how yes how to navigate the information.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
it's almost like a contradiction. You know what I mean? They're like, it gets puzzled. And, you know, Brian said that sometimes they get confused. I said, hey, we have our culture wars too. There
yeah,
becomes a big division about these things. And he's like, you're the only one that doesn't talk shit. And I said, because I like both styles. I think they're both
And because
equally.
your business isn't involved with the lock-in. That's the thing about Clean. Why I mean, I met Clean 25 years ago, and the thing I think that you've been so influential to me and such a like a player throughout the whole scene is that this is a passion project of yours. You've got no business. There's no monetary gain in terms of you making one decision or the other, and that's one of the major problem I feel like what Nack'O was saying about in Europe is that those guys judging, they're trying to sell classes as well. So often there's other competitions involved, so there's all kind of politics and corruption involved. I have to say, in terms of like who's winning and who's even getting through to qualify, it's pretty shady. But you know how we're talking about like how business, the thing that the first day I met you, Kenny, I met Greg, and Greg said to me, he said, forget competitions. You need to be a professional dancer, get headshots, get an agent, be professional, be on time. The advice that I got from Greg Campbellock was that if you want to be a professional dancer, man, that there's an open for you. So like Nack'O and Brian, I mean, like you guys are young, good looking, talented. Is dance your business? Is that what you want to do?
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Like for sure.
They're
And
currently doing it. Like I saw, you know, Nack'O in every competition that was, you know, meant something. And then Brian, I had no idea. He was like, Red Bull had a huge event out there, like pretty good amphitheater and up stadium type of situation. And he was with this pop artist on stage, just killing it. You know, he was dancing with this pop artist. and it's interesting seeing. I know these guys are gonna blow up. They're very passionate. They're really good dudes. And the reason why I brought them out here is because your generation, Stu, was the last generation to.
All right, I'm terribly sorry. Looks like we lost Clean. Brian and Nack'O, you still with us? Hopefully, Clean's going to join us back in a second. But yeah, Brian, you still with us? It looks like you're with us. All right.
Yeah. I'm here.
Kenny, forgive me. We lost you for a second. You were just saying about when I first came out. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, let's talk about me.
Your generation was hungry. And so when I'm saying your generation, late 90s, early 2000, they were coming out in truckloads. And Stu would tell you, he was like, Kenny, you're in the Cypher Battle and everybody.
Everyone.
You know? And so there was the people that were there was Flowmaster, Richie Rich, Cosmo Lock, myself at the beginning. Then some of the other OGs started hanging out. But your generation was coming out here to Cypher and get busy. What I love about these kids is every jam I took them to, they weren't on the wall. I took them to a Soul Train party. Mystical Popper hooked them up with the Jabberwocky show. Then we went to a nightclub that he was promoting, and just got busy, and they became the show. So I was really having a good. The first night, you know, I took a long turn of driving, and it was a good chance for me to talk to these guys, and like what Brian said, this is what this is what that is. Some of the stuff sounds like it's contradicting, but it's really not. Because people will say things, and some of the OGs of the Valley style and Campbell Lock style would dance together and do shows. Like Caboose did a show with Chain Reaction. Different styles, but the show that they put on was amazing. I did an event with Loose Caboose and Richie Rich. It was Shaqtacular at Universal City Walk. And so they did a duet together. If your foundation is in place, then these guys can do shows together. That way, when they solo, they look completely different. But in their routines, they look phenomenal. And there's this, well, you can't do this. Nah, it interacts together. An up is an up, a pace is a pace, a lock is a lock, and Uncle Sam points are Uncle Sam points. So even though there's these guys were hearing contradictions, they do go together. And I think they realize that. So, and for instead of me trying to, I kind of try to get out of the way so they could train with these people and not debate with these people. And so they could hear everybody's ideologies or perceptions. But sometimes they're getting mixed signals. So that long drive to Vegas and back, there was such good dialogue with these guys. And I had such a good time with them. So the on the way down there, we were navigating things and talking. And I took along. And so they took a cat nap. And then they got seduced by Las Vegas. They were like, oh, we got to meet people our age. And those little motherfuckers didn't come back till 6:30 in the morning. I think Brian lost $200. Nack'O was passed out in the Uber, and Brian was filming it. So by the time Nack'O got in the house, he just looked at me and he was just like pounding me flat and went to bed.
Sounds like you had a good time. Sounds like you had a really good time, fellas. I'm so happy to hear it. Sorry I couldn't be with you. So any plans in the future when you're going to come back to America?
I want to do a freestyle session for a show. Like I want to do the November thing, man.
You need a locking competition for that. I mean, that's the thing is this whole kind of thing these days. Like last freestyle session, they had that like open style freestyle where people were locking in. We need a locking event again. You know, I mean, that's the thing. People with
it would be amazing.
Everything is in like Asia now, like Japan. All the funky events I feel is there. I want to visit Japan too, but no. I want to do the freestyle session for real. Like even if there is no locking, but I would like to battle, of course. So, but
because they have a funk room, so you guys will be able to cipher with the best all day, and then you know a lot of the OGs will be also flavor of the year. So we're gonna plan that out, you know, and maybe I can rent the timeshare again. When I took them to the timeshare, they're like, "Clean, where you taking us?" I was like, "Bro, this is a resort." They're like, "Dude, this is different for us." And so they had a kitchen. And one night, we went to the grocery store and bought food. And Nack'O can cook, like he really can burn. And so we were able to go to the grocery store and save some money because they were just spending money. California's expensive, Vegas is expensive. So I was able to cook them tacos and make them breakfast one morning. But they just really enjoyed themselves in Vegas, and they got to meet people their age, and smoke and drink and gamble and do what they do in Vegas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we also linked up with Rampage the Popper and his girlfriend Brenda. And so after they went to the Jabberwocky show, we went over there and they were spent. They were cooked. And I knocked on the door. They were like, hell with it. Let's go. So they got to train and start meeting people with more their age in Vegas. So in Los Angeles, they hung out with a lot of the OGs and trained. But in Vegas, they got to meet people more their age and just kind of have fun and lose a little bit of money. But yeah, shout out Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, tell us about Vegas. You had a good time? Any adventures?
Vegas was different. Like Vegas was vacation. Vegas was good just for the 4 days, man. I could stay there too. But for the dance, it was great. There was the party what was the club? We've been to. That party was great. It was by Mystical Papa, right?
Yes.
That was amazing. That was, I think this
Lolo.
was with the
Shout out
the
to
Soul
Mystical
Train party.
Popper. He hooked them up when they were out there with the show.
Yeah,
Shout
shout
out
out to
club.
Mystical
Thank you,
Poppers.
brother.
Love Mystical
My
Popper.
brother.
If like
man, this was
if every party had music like this party, like we would be out every day dancing, man.
bro, the
Like,
dancers, they was crazy. They was coming in and everybody was
These
having
guys
fun.
did
Like,
the show, and when they cut off, I think at like 1:30, it was like on the dot. Brian sort of saying, "Hey, give that guy more money." Like, keep
yeah,
going.
give the DJ some money. Let's dance. Come on.
I love it, shit.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it because like we came out as the lockers, the poppers came, and then there was also many dancers that we didn't know. Clean didn't know them, but they were part of the Vegas scene, and they just joined us in the cipher and really shared with us the whole night. They were excited that dancers came from another country. Really grateful to have us there, and we shared the whole night. So
Yeah.
there was, I
yeah,
really liked that. Yeah,
But
was a
for
great
the
time with
first
them.
night, I was like, woke up at 2:30 in the morning, and they weren't back yet. And I said, God, just to be safe, let me call them up. And I heard the chaos behind them, the gambling machines, and women. Do you speak French? And they were. I said, okay, they're having a good time. Let me hang up, and But everything was kind of lined up for them, because I wanted them to have a good time. So it was like one night was a show, one night was a club, and when they came out here before we were talking, I said, if we get half the stuff done, these guys will have a pretty enjoyable time. So in LA, the old people, Vegas, young people, 22 years old, they're the perfect age to really enjoy Vegas. And when you come to USA, it's like I think Brian and Nack'O's parents were saying, you got to gamble. You got to do the slot. What did you play?
Yeah.
Brian, what did you on the roulette wheel? And
Man, the roulette is not my thing, bro. Like, I cannot play this stuff. Like, there's a 50-50 chance, or like they say it's 50-50, but I think it's 100 against me, bro. Like, I never win on roulette.
you have to put a half and a half, man. You have to put a half and a
Yes,
half.
exactly. And
Either you win.
yeah,
The house always wins.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. House always
I
wins.
think Rampage. We met up with those guys at the club, and they decided they were talking about gambling and what was it? Patrice, the guy from Canada. They showed up and they gambled a little bit. And I think Patrice, what he won like $100, and Rampage lost $100. And it's just Brian was like, Vegas is crazy, bro, and it's like I know. But it was a really good time.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm so really thrilled that to see young European lockers really come in, getting the information from the source and coming back. There seems to be such a very biased kind of attitude, or there was, at least when I was in Europe, of that locking was very much stuck in the 70s in that very French dominant philosophy of locking, that anything that came in the other generations and the different expressions of locking was considered incorrect. And I think it's interesting because anyone from LA Rockers or the other generation, like Clean's people, they don't talk about that like locking. They love the lockers, but they also love everything else that's coming as well as. So the fact that you guys, you've got it from the horse's mouth, and that you can just really come with that you can let these most of these Europeans know that what they're pushing out there is not 100%. Like, so please, like, carry the torch and like keep doing what
Yeah.
you're doing, because locking is a dance so very dear to like us. You know what I mean? We can't see it die. So it's up to you fellas. Like, please run, keep
Yeah, and
going.
they're going to
Yeah,
evolve
man.
it. And I think part of this was so important to me to bring them out because, like I said, your generation, the people from the late 90s to the early 2000s were coming out here in truckloads. And so my mindset, my thought about this was if I bring these guys out, their friends are going to come out and people they know are going to come out. I think it's very important, well, that they met some of the original people to get their version of it, and the second generation people that have their version of it. And even though they contradict each other's side, I think it's helpful for maybe people like me to neutralize that and say this all works together. It's just,
Has to. It has
there's this big thing of like everything's camel locking, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. But we can all agree that locking and popping, the funk styles, have reached the level of jazz, tap, and ballet, because the camel lock style and the electric boogaloo style of popping, the umbrella term, it's an art form. And all art forms have different style. And people start arguing about that. Well, it's flavor, it's feel. And it's like, no, by definition, if locking is a form, then it has a foundation. And so when you look at an up and you look at a wrist roll, you look at a point, same thing with popping, Nack'O Flexx, Twisto Flex, peanut butter, Fresno, Saki. This stuff has reached the level of form, and every form has a different styles. If you look at tap, you have the hoofers, and then you have, Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire. Same dance, different styles. By definition, style means the manner that you do something for. So locking, the original style is Campbell lock. Valley style, the double time second generation. People in Las Vegas had a style. People in Orange County, because the lockers were down there earlier, they had a style. So it's all
Yeah.
one dance, but the manner you do something in is different sometimes.
Brian.
It's all okay. And I think they really value that, hearing that from different people.
This is
Correct me if I'm wrong.
this is the thing I love about America. We were I'm not sure. I don't want to be messing up the story. I'm not sure if we spoke to Clean or we spoke to D-Rock himself, but I think you were saying to D-Rock, "Hey, who are you? You don't like D-Rock is from New York," and he said, "Who are you, man? You don't look like you're from New York." And
Yeah.
that one phrase was amazing to me because I feel like that's a thing in America. Like,
Yeah.
like each area lacks differently.
Yeah.
You see? And that when we brought it out to Europe, I look at it and I see it too, right? Like every country has a different approach to locking, and you can kind of tell where they're from. The Swedish dance a certain way, the people from Netherlands dance a certain way, us from Czech Republic dance a certain way. And I laughed that actually I heard it out loud, right? So you don't dance like you're from New York. Ah, that's because Rerun is my teacher, you see. So I have the LA style, you see. So I have the original style, but I love this because it opens up your mind, right? Like there's a different style, and it's also like the cultural value of it, right? So that it
Yeah.
is connected to a certain part, to a certain story, certain approaches, certain histories, memories that make it a style connected to an area. That is
Yeah.
something beautiful for me and very valuable for me
And
in
when you
dance
guys
and in
come out
locking.
again, I want to introduce you guys. Hopefully, we'll see if we can get the Hood Lockers to come out next year. And they have a
Yeah,
different flavor and feel because they're from Philly. Philly really has a
Philadelphia.
thing out there. And then Aqua Boogie and Goldilocks, his wife, they
Goldilocks.
learned from the second generation.
She's from Ohio, man. You know she's from
Oh, I didn't
Columbus.
know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've not
really?
met her, but
Love
I've
those
heard
guys.
a lot of the people around here tell me of her because she was the OG here. But I think they live in Florida now.
I
I'm not
thought
sure, but
there's
yeah,
another Goldilocks in Sweden. I thought
yeah.
you were speaking
Oh,
about.
No, that's Aqua Boogie's wife. But anyhow,
Uh,
the other thing that was really fun is they get off the plane and it's almost like these guys are adorable. They're like, I love these kids, man. They're young, cool people, very respectful. And it's like, Kenneth, uh, almost like it was a hindrance. Can you take us to In-N-Out? And I was like, yeah, it's one right by my pad because they had to drive me home to drop me off. And so I took them to In and Out, and they enjoyed it. But it was especially Nack'O. Like, one thing I learned about Brian, this guy can eat spicy stuff.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Like, I
We
took
can
him
hang
to
out.
Yeah.
popcorn chicken, and I was like, Brian, just get the. He's like, no, let's get extra hot. And I was watching him, and he wasn't even sweating. He's like, this is good, clean. And so,
Man, they were betting money on me. Like they were betting money on me. You will
With,
see, you will
with
cry,
Slim.
man. I put $5. Yes, Slim the Robo was saying to Nack'O, man, $5, Brian cries, and I'm like, nah, man, you will see, I will be good. Everyone was shocked.
Sounds like you can hang with me, man. We can go and eat some curry.
yes,
Yeah,
you
most
can.
definitely, my friend. Most definitely.
But one of the more memorable things for me was we had trained with Tony Basil. They were like, "Clean, come with us," because I had to shoot some footage for them. And they're like, "Well, where should we go eat?" And I was like, "You're in the States. You got to go to Roscoe's."
Chicken
And
and
they're
waffles.
like, "What's Roscoe's?" And I was like, "It's like soul food." So it was probably, I think Nack'O looked it up. It was like maybe 5 minutes from Tony's house.
Yeah, it was.
And so I'm kind of describing it to them. They're kind of looking around, and right when they bought the food, it got quiet. And there's not a lot of dialogue. But Nack'O, whenever Nack'O's, into something, he'll just pound me up. He's sitting there, one-handed chicken, going, fire. Like, what are you going to do? Like, get some lemonade and make it money. And then Brian's looking,
Boom.
what is the hottest sauce? And I was like, bro, you don't. Like,
He was serious.
and these
That
guys
brings
were
the
just
funk up,
throwing
man.
down. But like they call it the itis. Like when you're done with your food, it was a lot of food. First of all, they had the mac and cheese. They both got the Obama the first night, the fried chicken
And
and
they
waffles.
put me 5 chicken wings, bro. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Me?
So
They're supposed to put 3, they put in 5.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So Nack'O
They like
got
me.
a food comatose.
Yeah.
Like when Nack'O got done with his food, he started grabbing his stomach and releasing the belt. He's like, and I was like, we're gonna have to take a nap, man. So I went in the bed, but it was such a good experience for him that, like, on the way home, they were like, can we go to Roscoe's? And fortunately, there was one right by the airport too. So he got his Roscoe and waffles fix before they went home, and I thought it was a good idea because they'd be able to sleep on the plane, maybe.
And
To
we
get the
sleep.
food comatose.
Yeah, we did.
Man.
And I would say for Nack'O and Brian, that might have been a pretty memorable experience. They not once, but they went to Roscoe's Waffle Chicken twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys enjoy the food.
Bro,
Man, a great
you
spot.
said it all. You said it all. Like, I was like, bro, it was no speech. Like, the best food
Yeah.
we had there, definitely.
Yeah. So
Well, hanging out with Kenny is always so much fun. And like,
Yeah.
if we're sharing funny anecdotes, Kenny has the ability to teach locking even when he's asleep. And on the way back from Phoenix a couple months ago, I don't know if he told you, I had an 8-hour drive. So, like Kenny, like, have a sleep and that, and I'm just looking at the desert. And like Kenny's like mumbling in his sleep. And he comes out of the middle of nowhere and he's like, yeah, so if you extend your pace, you do the small pace, you extend. I'm realizing that he's been teaching me while he's asleep. Not realized, woken up and continued with the conversation. So I just kind of like said nothing, kept driving because it was good information. I was like, oh yeah, so really, what's that? He's like, yeah, so you start on small pace and then extend with a pace, similar points, and then the length points, small up.
Man,
Pull up, and I was like, that's great information, but the first half of that lesson was in the dream world. Can I have the beginning of it now?
yeah.
Yeah.
According to Grain Clamlock Jr., the keys to locking is pace, up, lock, roll, combination, Uncle Sam points. And so, people will say, well, I've never known Greg to say pace, and I said, look, you can call it keeping time. It's again, we're going back to semantics. I want to say
Tomato.
But like when I say up lock or muscle man, I don't care if it's the original term or where it came from. It really describes what we're doing. So it's more about, you can get into the politics of it, but what I'm mostly concerned about for these guys was to pass out information they could understand.
Well, the thing is that you're so like on point in that locking is all about the arms and the hands. Really, I see a lot of lockers, especially in Europe. I'm not naming names, that are very interested in the feet. Dope stuff. But I'm like, that looks like jazz dance with a little bit of locking sprinkled on top. Like locking is about the arms and the hands. You know, the feet, you know, come second really. And like you say, a lot of that is just really moves and grooves. The foundation of the locking, like you said, the wrist roll, point, up, lock, clap, you know, pace. Everything else is just kind of like your personality. And if you haven't got those fundamentals down, like in my opinion, you ain't locking.
Yeah, I would agree. But and that's not what I say. That's what Greg say. And I always say to people, Don is the creator, but Greg was the person that could break it down and teach it to people. So I feel like a lot of times we look at Europe versus other places, like where Asia can get more technical and Europe can get more groovy. Both things are important, but it's when they come together is when I really love it. So when Bam Bam went to Just a Vu, and unfortunately they didn't get to get judged by Bam, he's looking for people that have control. He doesn't want to see people bleeding moves. He doesn't want to see people off beat. You know, there's tricks that people do, and you can't disguise that from somebody that's that prolific. You know, he's an award-winning choreographer. And he's one of the
like
best
Anthony is
a
top of the top, cream of the crop. And please, I mean, could you like get into what would you consider bleeding a move?
So like chicken winging, or so like say you do it up and you know you're breaking form.
It's not finished.
Or you're pointing and you see that type of thing. Or you'll see people going like this to get back on beat.
Yeah.
And their posture's not correct. You know, you want those straight shapes and lines.
Yeah.
But when you're pacing, I'm moving and grooving.
Exactly.
These guys had that. They
Yeah.
were so soulful and so funky. The way they dress, the way they act, the way they wear their hat, the way they hang on to movement. I said, okay, if we can just get them, bring the technical with the soulful they had. The highest level to me, I just posted a video actually, and the guys watched it, where you can see the dancing inside the lock. That's the highest level to me. When people are locking in, you can see the music in it, you know. And so there's a lot of things that these guys already had, but I wanted to really introduce them to the original style and the technical style, the Valley style. And it seems like they really were so learned, you know, they were so eyes wide open. And it was just really fun to hang out with these guys and have long conversations. I hope I didn't bore them, you know, but I really had a good time with these guys.
It's because of Kenny that we came. He told it because of him we managed to came and managed to see everybody, to talk to everybody, and he knows everything. Like he's the book. He's the book, and he have all the tapes. We didn't manage to see them, but next time I hope.
Yeah, I do. So Greg Campbell gave a certain amount of people footage. I think I have about like 16 shows of the lockers. And it's like, we're going to get to that. But they were so busy. They kept on, you know, like I said, they really planned out their trip.
Yeah.
You know,
Every day.
Like I said, they got half the stuff done.
Every day we leave. Every day we left our house at 10 in the morning. And then we got back around 11 or midnight. Like, crazy. Like you get 4 locations in a day, food, everything, right? Hanging out with people.
We didn't stop
driving traffic. Man, it was crazy.
The thing is that like we have 2 weeks and every day we didn't have no chill day. Like every day we managed to do something. It was 2 weeks. Perfect timing, man. Like
so Stu, you remember how Ambition, you and Gemini and Scrabble Lock, all you guys were? I saw that in these guys. And I knew it was going to be some kind of fun with me. And they were all business when they got here. So Vegas was a good release for them just to get out of town and really more enjoy people their age and eat some good food. But I would say that they had a very good trip. And I hope people do what they do, that they follow suit again. They do it your generation. And they come and forget about what you hear and say. Learn from the horse's mouth. Well, we still got Fluky. Well, we still got Flynn. They just didn't want the dance. They wanted to understand the history and hear it from the horse. They were ambitious in terms of learning as well. Am I right or wrong? Which one is it?
Yeah, you're right. Of course.
Yeah.
I misunderstood, sorry.
So don't let anyone like try and tell you what locking is or isn't. You've seen it for yourself. So, you know, any of those academic, you know, kind of like, you know, but you know, one thing that's very interesting to me, I'd love to hear like Nack'O, Brian, what was your first introduction to locking? Like, how did you find the style? Like, You know, like, please give us a little of your history. You guys are from Prague, Czech Republic, right?
You wanna
Yeah.
start?
Yeah,
Well,
Nack'O,
Questions.
please hit.
My like first time
Social
I
media, right?
once again.
Social media, right?
Not really. I've been like, what was my age? Maybe 12, 13, I don't know. I've been going to dance school and I've been learning some styles. Then somehow I I've been learning locking. I didn't care
You're a
about it
b-boy first,
until
though, right?
I started with hip hop. Then I went to breaking, and it was a lot of style I was learning, but somehow I felt locking was natural for me, like easy
yeah.
to say something with the dance. It was easier to make a sentence with it. So I came back to locking, but at first I didn't like the music and everything because I was young. Nobody was locking around me, just Brian and a few other people. So yeah, I was searching my way
Yeah, man.
to the locking.
Hmm. And
So
Brian,
Mm.
Brian, how about you, man? What's
yeah.
your history?
Well, my history is that I started I started with breaking, right? But when I was 11, I was a chubby kid, right? So it was difficult for me to get down and do breaking, you feel me? So I took the open classes for locking in my dance school, and I loved it, cause we danced to music that my mom, my grandfather would put throughout all of my childhood. So straight up I had the connection. Okay, this is my home because this is the music that it is danced to. Okay, I'm doing this. So I went and I started training the dance, learning, taking a lot of classes, and then many many people like recognized me, wanted to put some special effort into teaching me. Mainly my teacher that teaches me right now, also teaches Nak. Vahe, our teacher from Czech Republic, he taught me like most of the stuff I know. He taught me how to keep the music, keep the time. Right now, like he's my teacher for about I think 8 years, 7 years, still learning from him all
Wow.
styles. But he taught me locking as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Vahe really took good care of us. My teacher
yes,
also been Kalo. He introduced me to dancing, like to the. He made he made me fall in love with funk. Actually, he's the guy
yeah,
that really took care of me about how I see the funk, how I because of him. I would say I look it as a dance, not as a some sport or anything, because he showed me the love. He showed me the pure happiness. And
man.
Vahe, yeah,
With Kalo,
it's crazy.
like the whole lifestyle is funky. Like you go
Yeah.
and like the whole approach to life is funky. So that's like we understood that funk is not only music or dance, but it's also like a way to approach life, the energy that we bring to a room, the energy that we treat people, right? Like it's a huge part of,
Beautiful.
yeah, a huge part of life for real.
And let me further attest, these kids are living it, man. So, like, when I talked to Brian, he's like, all right, Kenneth, I'm driver. And Knack was like, I play music. Let me tell you, and I'm going to let you know, these kids were playing obscure funk that I've never heard. And I'm very biased to the funk generation. And so they were introducing me. Like, these kids are really living it, man. And so to hear those funk and soul sounds is like, you guys were born at the wrong time. They're like, that's what we say, man. Like, the way they dress, the way they listen to music is like the 70s, with real instrumentation. It's not quantitative. It's like before MTV. This is what these guys drive to, and there was a different, genre of music they were playing, but we're like, this is how these guys roll, man. They were really about it. And which made the trip just driving those many miles go by faster. We were listening to amazing music and having amazing conversations. But yeah, these guys are about the funk, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let you know.
yeah.
And
We
Beautiful,
I'm like,
listen.
beautiful.
what
We
is this,
listen
man?
to.
It's always Afro soul, Afro funk. And so, man, it was just a joy to be around these guys. Um, is there any more questions that you might have in terms of stuff that needs to be addressed, like in terms of where locking's going? Because for me, I think to put it in a good direction, because locking's struggling in America. We need to bring guys like you out here. So this is why this trip was important. Is there anything else that you need? You might not have clear up or you're fuzzy on or be addressed, because I was really trying to do that. Have clarity of what it is out here for either of you.
Yeah, guys, where are you with locking right now? How are you feeling with it?
You want to
Man,
start? You start.
yeah, sure, I can start. Man, I fell in love with it even more. Like, to be really honest, I fell in love with it more, and I'm really looking forward to sharing with people, because right now it's December, it's holidays, right? Everybody's with the family. Like, we're not getting together as the community that much during the holidays. But I really started to appreciate it a lot, like the value of it and everything, because it's like even connected to so much memories. Like, it has so much value for me these days that I'm just really looking forward to sharing it with the world, like what we took with us from LA, from the source.
Yeah. And I filmed everything that I could so that they had homework, and they're putting it
Yeah,
to use. Like, they'll send me footage and they're showing me, like, I taught them the cha-cha-cha, and they went to a Soul Train event. I had made a phone call, and they got to hang out with somebody. I'm like, you guys know these people are your age, my age? And he goes, no. And I was like, yeah, you're meeting the people that we used to watch on Soul Train, And
yeah,
we get in there and these kids start tearing it up. There was nobody dancing when we got there. Some people are on walkers and wheelchairs. And so once I brought the guys in, they were like, well, let's get busy. And everybody started dancing. And then I saw after we left, because Nack'O finally got tired, I was like, no, we can bounce. So we made an appearance, and that party was lit. It kept on going. Some of my friends had
yeah,
sent me footage of it afterwards, but these kids set it off. That's how they're coming. They're like, we came to dance. There was no hanging on the wall. We get in there and we set the whole party off, just like we did in Vegas. And I love them for that. That's who these cats are. And that's why I brought them out. Right?
Thank you, bro.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. We came out there, we got to dance straight away. So much good music. The DJ was playing great music. I was shazamming all the time. We danced, then we bounced. People had fun. It was an amazing party.
So my hope is that people follow suit, and next time they come, I want them to bring more friends to share the expenses and bills, and really get a sense of to see the birthplace of it, and go visit Don Street, and go to a Soul Train party, and probably go to Vegas.
And Wasco's Chicken and Waffle.
Yeah.
They know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I need some time. My stomach needs some time. It was a crazy experience.
Well, fellas, we're coming on about an hour here, and we've had a couple of live viewers. I want to say thank you to anyone who's watched us live. Anyone watching us afterwards, post on YouTube. Like, thank you for being inside the conversation. Please, any comments or whatnot will be forwarded to the guys. I'll give you guys a speak before we cut out. But I really want to say thank you for what you're doing, fellas, because locking is something that I've been in love with for half of my life now, and to seeing that it's still running and it's going to be flourishing with you guys, and that you understand the realness that it is about the show and the party and the performance. Yeah, competitions is good, but that's sport, and it's something kind of separate. The fact that you guys have really got the flame for real, it touches my heart. So I'll take my hat off to you guys. And yeah, I'll give it to Clean and you guys before we cut out. Anything before we go to the field is yours.
Like the whole, I'm so glad I brought these guys out and suggested I kind of knew that it was kind of easy to think that would have been on their bucket list anyways. It wasn't hard to convince them, and they came out quicker than I did. But I could tell that one thing, that these guys are really good friends. They're really good mates, and they got each other's back, and they have a love for the dance, and they're going to carry it on the way it should be done. You know what I mean? That's what makes me happy. And they're going to bring more people and bear more fruit for the dance. So that was my goal. Thanks for hanging out with an old guy, and I didn't bore you with my stories. And now you guys are really good friends of mine. And so I guess I got to go out to Pratt.
Thank you for you, man. You bring us, you made it for real. You managed everything, almost without you.
You made the trip.
You made it. You made the last standing memory. Like this will be. Thank you for this
Yeah.
experience. We managed to
Yes.
really take it from the source because of you.
Thanks to you, we were VIPs in America. Thanks to you, bro.
Yeah, they yeah,
Wherever
It
we
meant a lot
went,
of
we
my
had the
friends, and they all said that it was our pleasure to host you. That Mystical,
yeah,
Rampage, Rampage had just built a garage studio, and we were the first ones to christen that studio. Late at night after they went to the Jabberwocky show, and I had went to the Mariah Carey Christmas show. Late at night, I called them up there at the tables. I said, "Hey, let's go to Rampages," and we got it in, man. That was another cool little memory. So fortunately they got to hang out with some younger people too. But everybody loves you guys. They said it was our pleasure to host you, and I just hope you had a good time. And I want to see you
yeah,
guys again at Flavor of the Year and Freestyle Session. You guys got to come back, man, and with
yeah,
other
for sure.
people. Yeah,
We will try to take as much people as we can. I
yeah.
yes,
hope
sir.
that we can manage it. The thing is that we have I think
Commitments.
no, we do an event and maybe freestyle session and the event is
They're
crossing over,
like,
but I'm not sure.
yeah,
We will see, but definitely I want to come back.
we definitely
For
figure
the
something out, man.
yeah, even if we come
Good.
for one event or something, we will come for sure.
Right. That was my hope.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we will see how the dates will go, but man,
Well, thanks for coming on, you guys. Appreciate it, Stewie. Good job. I hope this was eventful for people. And yeah, man, I would love to see people do what Stewie's generation and come and engage with us and let's strengthen locking. I think it's just as important to me. I think it is you guys, and I'm glad to see there's cats like you carrying on, man. It's important to me. And I had made a promise to Don and Greg that I would do my part to keep it going. So I had an agenda by bringing you guys out, but I'm meticulous at who I bring out. You know what I mean? And so thank you guys so much for carrying on. Stewie,
man, we appreciate you a lot, for
e-
real, man, for real.
exactly. Thank you
likewise.
so much. We appreciate it. Thank you for having us. It was a
You guys
pleasure
are
for
the
Yes,
us
future
to
of
speak about
locking,
the locking.
and with cats like you, locking will never die. So
yeah,
you warm my heart, man. We're all in this together. Let's keep it one lock.
yes, sir.
For sure. Keep it
Flexi, thank you
locking.
so much. Thank you so much
All
for
right, we're out,
inviting us
man.
to the podcast, man.
We keep it
Thank
going,
you,
man.
brother.
All right,
Yeah.
much blessed, and we out. So, gentlemen, we're no longer live.